Why is the bubble back? During the most recent event, we discovered that the Chapter 6 island of Onoshima has a bubble, near on identical to the Chapter 2 Chapter 3 one. This has sparked a lot of debate and have left many people confused. I made a video a few days ago roughly covering what I thought was going on. In this video, I want to expand a bit more on that idea and connect some of the dots. December 4th, 2021, the Chapter 2 end event occurs. It is not until the Chapter 3 trailer we see the bubble. And that bubble would exist until the Chapter 3 end event, Fracture. And the events of Fracture actually really showed how vulnerable and sentient the 0 point is, how alive it is, or how alive it may have been, because after this event it was running for its life. One thing that was obviously missing after Zero Fusion was the bubble. Defences were down, and formidable enemies would soon take notice.
Prime, and this message is to my allies. There is grave danger on the horizon. The power that once flowed through your island has faded, and formidable enemies have taken notice. You must brave the unknown. The answers you seek lie deep within the starless void that brought you here.
From Spawn Island, it appears that the Chapter 4 map did not form a bubble. There seems to be tendrils reaching out, possibly trying to form the bubble, because it already created the map, it didn't need any more landmass, and it was unable to because soon it will become petrified, and of course we would then lead into the events of Big Bang, which then caused the 0 point to fracture. So I had this theory a few years back about the shield bubble being a protective element and a barrier to protect the 0 point, because it's something that's always bugged me about the story, about the Cube Queen apparently failing, and indeed the Herald. But when you look at it through the bubble, they didn't fail. They were successful and did what they needed to do. Every time the last reality came to the island, they needed a scout, a figure who would come to the island and allow the last reality access. In Chapter 1, it was the Cube. It failed miserably. Chapter 2, it was Raz. Chapter 3, it was Bites and the Crow, which of course in a deleted scene allowed the UFO to just come and take the 0 point. Obviously that also didn't go well, which then led the 0 point to run away, which we shouldn't be taking the lead scenes, I know, but the same thing still happened. It disappeared. Paradigm during Fracture or Fusion said, "We're far from home, this is not where we are, we've moved," but definitely moved. So the 0 point was on the run, and obviously not having a barrier, a layer of protection, it was an issue for the 0 point. I actually originally got this idea because of the reflective kinetic ore back in Chapter 4. And before you say this is some tinfoil hat theory, which it might actually be, listen. The ancients had, of course, ancient technology. Kinetic ore prisms.
From what I can tell, the apparatus uses kinetic ore prisms to manipulate light, if my instincts are right.
So essentially the apparatus sounded like a spectrometer, which is used to tell what sort of atmospheres planets have by analysing sunlight passing through it. Like it was a big part of the chapter. The first loading screen of that chapter was called Refracted Light, and obviously the event before was called Fracture, which seemed to have shown a bubble of some sorts around the island which just isn't there. So I did think at the time, was the bubble refracting light or reflecting light, so people who want to cause it harm can't really see the island and can't get through the barrier like the last reality, and they have to somewhat backdoor it every time. So it's been a while since Big Bang, so maybe these zero shards have had time to create a bubble, create a loop to try and protect itself. Now, the loop is partially made by the 0 point and partially manipulated by the Imagined Order. That's how the story began. But the 0 point is sentient. It's well in the realms of reality to believe that the 0 point learnt, and Fortnite was the best solution to a massive issue. I believe people still think the 0 point is very one-dimensional. Like, I would argue for eternity when people used to say the 0 point can't be destroyed because it's been told to us. But that isn't true. And this is what I said before the Big Bang.
So the current belief structure is that if the 0 point explodes, it means the end of everything. But we need to understand why that is. Let's go back to 2019, when the scientists said this.
The 0 point must be contained once more. If they are correct, it will be the end.
A couple things to point out about this statement is the uncertainty. If nay is followed by correct, it's a large amount of uncertainty in the statement. And this is not even the scientist's own conclusion, because it's nay.
If they are correct, it will be the end.
But who are nay? Is the other members of Seven? Well, maybe, but no. Nay in the past has been used to describe the Imagined Order, but is this line a lie, used to save the ball of energy to be used by the Imagined Order? Also, to add to this line, is another statement. The containment field stabilized, the bridge is intact. The Seven succeeded, our manipulations averted disaster. This is believed to be the Imagined Order's communication between them and ghosts, but what does it mean? So let's dig into these statements to find out if they are in fact true. The containment field is stabilized, the bridge is intact. Well, we've seen the imposter game mode. This statement seems like a true statement. So now the Seven succeeded, our manipulations averted disaster. Well, this is all based on viewpoint, and it's the viewpoints of the Imagined Orders. That's who said this line. The problem with these two lines is that they're personal to the person who's saying them. So what is your current understanding of the end event and what followed? The Seven succeeded and saved us from the end. But as I'm trying to get across, is that statement and belief even true? Because them saving the Omniverse was possibly based on what the Imagined Order said. So we really need to understand this from the viewpoint of the Imagined Order and what they were saying, because they said this, not the Seven. So the Seven did the end event, the 0 point imploded, it sucked us in, and all the matter reorganized to form the new Chapter 2 map, and of course Chapter 3's. But what happened from the viewpoint of the Imagined Order? Well, it gave them the environment to control and manipulate the 0 point. So this is the opening message of Chapter 2. The containment field is stabilized, the bridge is intact, the Seven succeeded, our manipulations averted disaster. The 0 point is ours, and the plan can continue. Eventually, we would have a couple of comic books that gave us more of an answer to what the plan was, and that was Geno's plan of manipulating and controlling countless realities, including Reality Zero, to find his perfect reality, his perfect civilization. So of course, the Imagined Order had a hidden agenda to manipulate the Seven to carry out the end event, and that was to carry out Geno's great plan, which they did for many years. And probably prior to that point of the end event, until Paradigm ripped the 0 point out of the vault and caused them a massive issue. Of course, they had the containment field and the bridge to manipulate and control the 0 point, and to also control and manipulate countless realities. So what we now learned in this video, if we go back to what the scientist said, if they are correct, it will be the end. Does that statement still hold legitimacy, or does it start to crack a bit?
Crack a bit. That's kind of funny. But if we take a look at what was completely said after the end event of Chapter 1, the Imagined Order, talking to one of their redacted teams, said the containment field is stabilized. Is the bubble a containment field, or is that something else? The bridge is intact, the Seven succeeded, our manipulations averted disaster. The 0 point is ours, and the plan can continue. Surprising is the sheer volume of matter resolved around the bridge. Extensive charting and analysis is required. Could that be hinting at the bubble? This sheer volume of matter encasing itself around the island, as well as creating another island underneath it. We also have no way of knowing if Chapter 1 or Chapter 5 had a bubble. I mean, Chapter 1 had a vault, and it's very intriguing now, as if you go to Utopia on the Chapter 6 map, we can see that vault. The one thing I always hear about this is the purest form of the 0 point. Uncracked, unshattered, but I would argue against that due to the fact the cube the prior season was dripping onto it. That dark energy dripping onto the 0 point couldn't have been doing it any favours. Now, in this video I have discussed a lot about the bubble, but not so much about the loop, because I don't really want to blend them two things in, because in Chapter 4 we were still playing Fortnite, we were still playing the game, and I believe the loop has always been present. But that is against the grain. I know a lot of people are like, there was not a loop because there wasn't a bubble. Like, people are connecting them, even though I see no evidence as to why that should be the senses going forward. In my opinion, if the 0 point is powerful enough to create the entire universe you see in Fortnite, a fraction of it should be able to replicate that in some capacity. I mean, a little tiny bit of it was used to power the mech during the collision event. Like, how people talk about the 0 point, they really do downplay it. I mean, it created everything. Everything you see, characters, the worlds, reality, destroyed it and recreated it again several times. It returned magic to Ononoshima, which on a grand scale of the 0 point is a little feat. And if you're telling me it can't replicate a simulated reality, I'm not sure we completely understand the 0 point here. Now, what I said about the last reality having to backdoor it, the same thing seems to be happening again. And the access from its dark presence seemed to be through the spirit portals. Like the last reality almost gaining entrance due to the Cube Queen opening up the bubble, it seems like once again the defenses are trying to be bypassed. It would have been interesting to see what would have happened if the Death Star had shot. Would it just hit the barrier and bounced off? I mean, we can see from this image here that the Spirit Realm portal isn't enough to bypass the bubble. Some things can seem to go through it, asteroids for one of them, but some things can't. Comment down below what you make of this, and if you do end up buying the Chapter 6 Season 3 Battle Pass, consider using creator code MRJLY in the Fortnite item shop. #ad, #partner. Thank you.